And it's Christmas time in Germany and across Europe, and it is turning out to be one like no other. Normally a time for friends, family, food and gifts has been overshadowed by travel and contact restrictions, a new strain of the virus, and the race to start vaccinating people as the number of new infections remains dangerously high in many places. For the latest, my colleague emmanuel.atani spoke to William Gleecroft, correspondent with DW, our partner in Berlin, and asked, among other questions, how are countries handling the new strain that has been reported?
Well, good. It actually looks a lot like what we remember in the springtime when there was so much chaos about cross-border traffic and whether countries should stay open to other travelers and people from outside their countries or not. And much of the scientific research says it doesn't make a huge difference if you close the borders when the virus has already spread so widely. This new mutation that was found in the UK that led to much harder lockdowns over the weekend, its initial research shows can be as much as 70% more infectious, but vaccine makers say the vaccine will still be effective against it. Nonetheless, that led to a lot of hasty travel bans being put into place across the EU against the UK, which led to real chaos at airports over the weekend as people rushed to get back before what they thought would be their last flights back to Germany. Police were separating people based on their nationality and their residency, whether they could prove that they were negative of the virus or not. It was a real messy situation. Since then, the EU has come out and said they do not support blanket travel bans. France has loosened up some of its travel restrictions. Germany, however, is sticking with its restrictions until at least January 1st for some people coming back from the UK, and January 6th for a more general lifting of the ban. So it's still a very tense time here as public health officials try to understand and protect against this new apparent mutant strain of the virus.
Right, so what does Christmas look like where you are? Are there any special rules that have been put in place, and what has been the public response?
Oh, many special rules that have been also very confusing as Germany went from a somewhat loose lockdown to a harder lockdown in the last couple of weeks because the new infection rate was just staying stubbornly high, anywhere from 20 to 30,000 new infections every day. We now have 28,000 deaths in total in Germany, almost two-thirds of those coming in just this second wave. So worse situation than what we saw in the springtime when Germany was roundly applauded for its performance with the pandemic. Christmas, people are obviously still wanting to travel and meet family and friends and stay with them. Public health officials are pleading with people not to do that, to keep it to the absolute minimum number. And if you can do it, be outside like I am today, even though it's a bit cold and damp. It is, the deepest, darkest part of winter right now here in Northern Europe. That's what they're hoping, because the fear is if people gather too much and indoors, there's going to be another major spike in cases after Christmas that's going to put the hospital system even under more strain than it already is.
So the EU has approved the vaccine. What now?
The rollout. Public health officials, Jens Spahn, the federal health minister here in Germany, he says he hopes the vaccinations can now start as early as the 27th of December. That's right after Christmas here in Germany. Of course, like many other countries, it's going to be the highest risk people, the most vulnerable people to get that vaccine first. Very old people, sick people, care workers, nurses, people who are in high risk environments. And that's going to itself take a couple of months, the health officials here say. There's going to be a very limited amount of doses available of the vaccine. In January, the EU hopes to approve the Moderna vaccine, so then there'll be 2 possible vaccines to deliver around Germany and around Europe. But it's going to take many, many months to get through the highest priority people before we can even get to the general population. Again, Jens Spahn, the health minister, he says he hopes by summer to have the entire German population vaccinated, but it's going to be a long road until then with a lot of variables, a lot of moving parts, a huge logistical challenge. And that's where we are ending 2020 and going into 2021.
Right. Well, thank you very much, William, for joining us. And I hope that somehow you managed to have a wonderful Christmas.